Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by Ray Ora.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Jonathan Voico.
Good morning.
Writer, director, producer, Robert Meyer Burnett.
Hello there.
And, of course, most importantly, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. And here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a few topics we got lined up for you guys. Then in the second part of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions as long as we deem them appropriate to be addressed on our show. If you've got a topic or question you'd like us to address, go ahead and fire it on into our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. And the good news about this tip link is that it's actually good 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So even if you're watching or listening to this when we're not live, maybe you're listening to our podcast feed on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or maybe you're watching the show a little bit later in the day when we're not live, you can still send in a question anytime, 24/7. And if you send it in when we're not live, we'll just get around to answering it on the next episode. All right, guys. With that down, let's talk about this. It's been a bad couple of days. Yesterday, we had to talk about the passing of several people from the Hollywood community. And today, I woke up to hear news that truly, maybe the phrase, one of the all-time greats, is thrown around a little bit loosely. Now when it comes to Gene Hackman, he's one of the GOATs, one of the greatest of all time. We woke up to news this morning, according to this, that legendary actor Gene Hackman, his wife, and their dog found dead in their Santa Fe home. They suspect, the daughter was saying they suspect it might have been carbon monoxide poisoning. They haven't really determined the cause. The police have initially put out a statement saying they don't suspect foul play. Whatever. Gene Hackman, at the age of 95, a 5-time Academy Award nominee, a 2-time Academy Award winner, multiple other international awards across his career, and truly one of the greatest careers Hollywood has ever seen. And unlike a lot of other people in entertainment, when he said, I'm wrapping it up, he did in 2004. He said, I'm wrapping it up. I got things I want to do. He actually did. He actually wrapped it up and went on to just enjoy the rest of his life, working with different charities, working with community, riding his bike every day. It is funny, I have to admit, when you look at this historic, iconic career of Gene Hackman, that he chose Welcome to Mooseport. I think he did with Ray Romano to be his final film. But you know what? What a Gene Hackman thing to do. Gene Hackman, who of course, probably for most fans will be most remembered as Lex Luthor. He won his second Academy Award in my favorite performance of his in Unforgiven. I still think probably the greatest Western of all time. In my humble opinion, Royal Tenenbaums, French Connection, Mississippi Burning is one of the greatest movies ever made. I mean, on and on and on. He could be funny. He could be a viciously deadly villain. He could do it all. And he passes away at the age of 95. Rob, I know this news. I mean, we were talking before the show started. He was 95. It wasn't like the unfortunate passing of Roberto Orsi yesterday at just 51, 95. But when you hear about truly one of the greatest of all time we've lost, what were your first thoughts?
Well, he had such a diverse career in terms of the kinds of movies he was in. Obviously, as a huge William Friedkin fan, Popeye Doyle in The French Connection is one of my favorite characters he played. He was in a great film in the 70s called Scarecrow with Al Pacino. That's kind of a wonderful, smaller, more indie film. Then he was in big studio productions. He was in The Firm with Tom Cruise, which is a great movie.
That he did right after Unforgiven.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, Unforgiven's one of my favorite movies of all time. And then, Little Ducks, There's Trouble in Russia. He worked with Tony Scott in Crimson Tide. I mean, he was in No Way Out with Kevin Costner and Sean Young. And, of course, as Lex Luthor, he was great. But he was a great movie called Night Moves. He was just a fantastic actor.
Hoosiers, Reds.
The Replacements with Keanu Reeves. We were just talking about that. I mean, he was so great because, what's interesting about him is it used to be that he looked like if this makes any sense. He looked like a real guy.
Yeah.
He wasn't like too beautiful. You know, those actors that became popular in the 70s, like Roy Scheider and who was also in French Connection with him. Roy Scheider is one of my favorite actors too. And these guys that came out of the 70s, they weren't matinee idols. You know, like you saw the matinee idols of the 50s, the Rock Hudsons and people like that. It really started to change in the late 60s and 70s where it was the everyman was truly the everyman. And Hackman was that guy.
That was like Charles Bronson too around that era.
And you believed him in whatever role he was playing. But like you said, as Little Bill in Unforgiven, my God, he's so good.
That scene with him and Richard Harris, like that's truly one of the greatest scenes.
The Duck of Death.
All time.
Yeah.
That's like one of the greatest scenes of all time.
And also when Richard Harris is in the jail, I was watching this last night, and Hackman tells Saul Rubinek what really happened when Little Bill killed the Duck of Death really killed this guy. Hackman, I mean, that's the great thing, dude. We've got so many dozens of wonderful movies of his to watch.
You know what's funny? There's I'm looking it up right now because there was actually totally underrated. Nobody talked about it. It wasn't well received when it came out. But there's this little film he did with Sigourney Weaver. It was a little comedy. What was it called? I think it was called Heartbreakers. That was it. No, it got very little fanfare. Not a lot of people talked about it, but it was with him, Sigourney Weaver, and Jennifer Love Hewitt, Ray Liotta, Jason Lee. And I just remember that was one of those little comedies that I watched it, I was completely delighted by, and it really showed a different side to him that you didn't really think about when you thought he could truly do it all.
Yeah,
I mean,
he really
could do. You could be a director and hand him any kind of material, and he could just do it and make it iconic and make it great. And we have lost truly one of the titans. We've lost one of the greats ever. Gene Hackman passes away.
What a life, though.
What a life! What a career! And again, I so admire. He said it in 2004, 21 years ago. He said, yeah, I'm done. And I'm going to enjoy this part of my life. And he just went and did it. I mean, so amazing. Guys, how are you feeling about this? When you think of the great Gene Hackman, what are the films that instantly come to your mind? He has contributed so much to this whole fandom. It's just insane. Whatever you guys think about, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? There was a great scream of glee that went out when it was finally made official that Shrek 5 was indeed coming. Now, of course, at the end of Puss in Boots, what was the name of that one?
Last Wish.
Last Wish, thank you. Which was actually pretty wonderful.
Yeah.
That was actually a surprisingly good movie with a devastatingly awesome villain in it. But at the very end of it, he said, I'm going to go see some friends. And he's sailing off to far, far away. And everybody thought, oh, are they doing another Shrek? And then the official word came out that they're doing another Shrek. And today, they have made an announcement adding to the cast of Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, Cameron Diaz. Shrek and Fiona have a daughter. And it's going to be this little known actress struggling to get work lately, Zendaya.
Never heard of her.
Is going to be starring in Shrek 5.
This is going to be great for her career.
I think this could be really be a big taking off point for her.
Yeah.
I think she's really
I
going
know her
to make something of
confidence was
herself.
slumping because she was lack of work. So
Lack of work. And anyway, they actually put out a little teaser with it, which is actually really kind of interesting. It's fun. It's funny. I love that. And then she swoops in here as the daughter, who looks exactly like a mix between Fiona and Shrek.
Pinocchio.
And then Pinocchio. Look, I'll tell you what. I was as happy as anybody else when we found out that Shrek 5 was going to be coming and all that kind of stuff. But I'll tell you what, when I watched that little teaser, and it's just a nothing little teaser. The movie's not coming till the end of 2026. But my heart smiled so big just watching this little teaser. Adding Zendaya to it is great because you know what? The reality is, Rob, this is going to be hard for all of us in this room to wrap our heads around this. The Shrek franchise is like 25 years old. It's like a quarter of a century old. I don't even want to think about that. But the idea of bringing in Zendaya now Well, at least, but again, you know me, I'm not all into, let's just get big celebrity names to do the voice and animations. But if you want to try to, bring in the next generation of fans, putting in a name that they'll recognize is probably pretty good. Anyway, I love this casting. I love that after 20 some years, they're going to have a kid. I love that the whole gang is back together. I just love this. Anyway, what was your reaction to this when you saw it?
Well, the cast is such a stacked cast. If you're going to add somebody new, I think you're sort of obligated to have a name that fits right in, slots right in. And hey, like you said, 25 years, Shrek 5 is going to be the first Shrek movie some new kid sees. So to have yet new.
Here's something else. Okay. You want to hear a terrible thought?
Uh-oh.
There was a kid who was born the day after the first Shrek came out, who is going to be watching this next Shrek with their kid. Wrap your head around that.
And why not? I mean, I think the casting is going to be great. I think Zendaya is actually quite a gifted actress. I think
she's wonderful.
I think she has a really great range, and I just whenever I've seen her on talk show appearances, she's delightful.
Yeah.
So I really liked her in Challengers, and of course her performance in Euphoria, and she's just really, really great. And I love the fact that she's in love with Tom Holland. I hope they get married and live happily ever after.
So I'm wondering, is she the younger sister, the older sister, or one of the triplets? Who knows? We will find out. I just love it. Ray, were you ever a Shrek guy?
I like Donkey for a little bit, but I think I've gotten attached to the cat more.
Puss in Boots.
Puss in Boots.
Shrek, it never really caught on to me.
Really?
Much. Yeah, I think I watched up to Shrek 2, and then I was done after that.
Shrek 2 is my favorite.
I was good after
Shrek 2 is, to me,
It's great.
that's the godfather of the Shrek
But you
franchise.
know what?
I love Shrek 2.
I'm all for welcoming this franchise back. Like I said, it's by DreamWorks. DreamWorks has been knocking it out of the park with these animated movies, including Dogman and The Bad Guys.
What was Dogman a DreamWorks picture?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
So,
You know what? If it's a DreamWorks, I might have to.
Yeah.
If it's a DreamWorks, I might have to go see it.
so
I'm kidding. I'm never watching
Yeah,
that movie.
Yeah, me neither.
So that was kind of like clickbait right there. So let's segue to that.
Nice
now.
segue.
Good segue, Ray.
I actually thought you were serious. I'm actually kind of furious right now. I'm just kidding.
And by the way, I'm not crap talking on Dogman. I haven't seen it. I hear it's a very good little film.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys,
For pussy boys.
question is for you guys. What do you think about this? Zendaya's joining Shrek 5. They actually put out their first little teaser just as an announcement that Zendaya's joined the cast. Are you looking forward to it? Maybe you think this franchise should be left in the past. I think it's ripe to revisit again. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we still got to talk about an issue here. It's around everything, but in particular in movie circles and movie websites, clickbaiting on links and titles is becoming kind of a problem. And it's with all of us. And we're going to talk about that. And also, the new Green Lantern series coming to HBO and Max, Lanterns. It's in production now. They're finally shooting, and we got our first image from the set. We're going to talk about that and a few things more. But before we do, we're going to take a quick moment here and thank one of the sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at NordVPN. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's episode, NordVPN. All right, let's be real. There's nothing worse than wanting to stream your favorite show or watch a live game only to find out it's blocked in your country. But guess what? With NordVPN, that is never a problem. With just one click, you can switch your virtual location and access content from anywhere in the world. I have loved using NordVPN. Whether I'm traveling and using public Wi-Fi or just shopping online, NordVPN keeps my personal info safe and private. By switching my location, I can even save money on flights, hotels, and subscriptions. It's like a cheat code for getting the best deals. NordVPN is the fastest VPN in the world, so there's no buffering when I'm streaming. Plus, their threat protection feature blocks blocks, malware, trackers, and phishing attempts, keeping my devices safe 24/7. And with just one account, I can protect up to 10 devices, so my whole setup is covered. So to get the best discount on your NordVPN plan, head to nordvpn.com/John Campea, and our link will even give you 4 extra months for free on the 2-year plan. Plus, there's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Links in the description. Check it out now. And thank you to our friends at NordVPN for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that down, let's talk about this, shall we? In our movie fandom community, clickbait has always been a thing, but it seems to me to be getting worse and worse and worse. And one of the things that causes some confusion around clickbait is the same thing that causes some confusion around the topic of spoilers. No two people have the same definition of what is or isn't a spoiler, and some people have different definitions of what clickbait is. To me, clickbait isn't necessarily lying titles, like a title that is absolutely nothing to do with the topic or whatever. To me, clickbait has always been an issue of like teasing the audience with something and saying, if you actually want to know, you have to click and come in. Like what I try to do, and I know I failed. I know I have failed at this at some points. Not intentionally, but I have. What I try to do when I'm doing my titling for my videos is actually put what the video is in the title. Like, I don't write, Colin Farrell was asked about his future in Penguin Season 2, and you won't believe his answer. What I try to do in my titles is Colin Farrell says, it's not what I want to do right now about Penguin Season 2. Like, that's how I try to make my titles. Again, I'm very keenly aware that I think there are times that I've done it and not really thought about it and then looked at it later. It's like, oh, that was actually kind of a clickbaity title. It's a big problem. And it seems to be getting worse around the movie sphere. Now, because I think it's a problem for everybody, I don't want to pick on anybody. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples, but I deliberately have taken them from sites that I really like. Just so it doesn't look like I'm trying to trash on anybody. There's a couple of sites that I quite enjoy. I like reading on a regular basis, and we will often quote on our show on almost a weekly basis. One of those is Comic Book Movie, and one of them is Movie Web. I like both of these sites. I think they both do a good job. They've been a part of my movie fandom for a long time. So I specifically picked these guys because I like them, so it doesn't look like I'm trying to pick on anybody, okay? But these are 2 headlines from today. Even sites that I really like. For example, if you go to comicbookmovie.com, their headline reads, and this is a big headline, Loki star Tom Hiddleston has once again addressed his Marvel Cinematic Universe future, responding to rumors that he'll return as God Loki in Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. Wow, that's quite a title. Can't wait to have this long breakdown about how Tom Hiddleston addresses the future of Loki in Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. Want to see the entire story?
I just want to believe he's in both.
Here's the entire story. I don't know. That's it. That's the whole quote. Somebody asked him, hey, are you going to be in the Avengers movies? And he said, I don't know. And that's it. That's it. Somebody asked him, are you going to be in Avengers? He says, I don't know. They made an entire story with a headline that is literally 4 times longer than the entire quote he gave. This is the epitome of clickbait.
Got him.
Again,
We should have like the
you're gonna have to make a sound button for that.
Oh yeah,
John Penafrace got him.
We should have like a segment that's called the top 5 Gothams of the week, where
Now-
we round up all the egregious.
So
Now,
we're
I just wanna
promoting
point this-
clickbaiting on the show now.
Yeah,
Like,
here
we're-
we go. Now, I just want to point something out. Like one of our live viewers, Michael Burgett, just said in the live chat, just don't go to those sites. My point is, it's all of them.
Right.
Everyone. Even those of us who try not to do it, I have been guilty of it. I don't want to be. I honestly have never intentionally done it. But if you think that one's bad, check this out. This is today. Again, from another site that I like. And it's Dwayne Johnson. The headline, this is at Movie Web. Dwayne Johnson shares emotional tribute following the death of his biggest star of the Fast and Furious franchise has ever seen. And I saw that headline because, every morning and every night before I go to bed, I go through all my news feeds and stuff like that. And I saw that one. I'm like, oh my God, his dog. I just lost a dog. I'm not undermining the emotional impact of losing a pet. I'm not. But this headline clearly is meant to lead you to believe that an actor in the Fast and the Furious franchise has died.
Yeah.
But as you go on to this, he had his dog Hobbs, and it's a very look at that little guy.
Oh, cutie.
Come on. But I mean, to take the tragedy of a guy lost his pet, who named Hobbs, by the way, was the name of the dog. But to make your headline, Dwayne Johnson shares the most truth following the death of the biggest star of the Fast and Furious has ever seen. Okay, maybe that is what Dwayne Johnson said, but you clearly titled this to make me think that an actor in the franchise died. These are just two from today.
Or like it was a tribute to Paul to Walker, right? Like you're like, oh, this
or like maybe I thought it was an anniversary of his passing or
Right,
something.
he's like-
Maybe he's talking about Paul Walker or something like that. Again, to me, this is not fake news, not whatever. This is the definition of clickbait, to make you think you're going to get something if you click this, but there's really nothing there to give you. And it's part of a problem because to survive as a website, as a blog, as a YouTube channel, you need people to click on your articles, on your posts, on your videos. And so there is an inherent incentive to try to make your headlines vague, maybe a little misleading. I actually have a service that I use that helps me come up with good titles, helps me come up with shortening my descriptions, because sometimes, I don't know if you guys know, sometimes I run a little long. And so I have a service, but oftentimes when I put in my title and it brings up a title suggestion, it changes it to like one of these clickbait kind of titles. I'm like, no, not that. But Rob, it's something I'm sure every content creator struggles with, especially in the movie industry, which is, by nature is kind of also a celebrity kind of buzz-filled sort of thing. I don't know, but where and how? I've had people that I work with and sponsorship and stuff like that have asked me to change the way we do our titles a bit. I'm like, no. I mean, to their credit, they haven't pressured me or anything, but talk about the pressure, the temptation, the tug of war you have to go through between trying to be as legit as possible, but also being aware that you're trying to attract clicks. I mean, it's tough for any creator.
I do the same, I did the same thing with my own show. You have to come up, for me, I try and pose a question. So, and I try not to make it misleading. I really like my titles to pose a question about what I want to talk about. Because I come up with titles not knowing exactly what I'm going to talk about, because I have a topic, but I don't know what I'm going to say yet. So I schedule a show which has the topic there. But you have to do something that makes people want to click.
Yeah.
There's got to be something that entices. It's like reading the back of a paperback novel. When I'm in an airport, I want to have something make me, oh, that sounds good, I want to read that. So in a second, with the title of a YouTube video, there's a billion YouTube videos to watch. You have to grab your audience with that headline. Now, what I don't like, I think you can make great headlines, but you don't have to mislead people. Because like the one you just showed us, I don't know. I mean, it's like you've now engaged me. You've promised me something that you don't deliver on. The answer is I don't know. So what you've done is you've actually wasted my time.
Yeah.
That's what I don't like. I don't like if my time is being wasted. At least when I'm coming up with a title, I think the covenant that I have with my viewership on my own YouTube channel is that I'm at least going to, I mean, you might hate my guts and not watch my show. That's your own, I can't help that. But at least if you're going to tune in and watch me, at least I want to be able to give you something that I've made you feel like your time was, well, I respect your time. Like you're saying, the more we've been seeing a rise in clickbaity bullshit articles, and I hate that. I'm like, it really puts me off.
Another thing they do is do it. They'll do like a headline of, I'm making this one up just as an example, but you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, right? So like say, cast of, make something up. Okay, cast of Breaking Bad all agree this was the most difficult person to work with. And then the thumb picture they'll have is like a picture of Aaron Paul. But then you go into it and like they're talking about this one extra they all had on season 2 that everybody hated. But like they'll put in a picture, a thumb that's completely like makes you think it's good. By the way, I just want to say this one thing. Justin in our live chat just commented, Hooters is a clickbait title for a restaurant. Like anyway,
but no, but
sorry, go on.
But I do think that that's problematic for our entire culture. Everything, news. As soon as they made news entertainment, 24-hour news cycle, are the truth and the reality of things is being slowly supplanted by this sensationalistic drivel that is based on simply getting people to click so analytics can show, oh, we're getting this many views, so ad revenue goes up. I mean, that's all that it's about. And at the end of the day, we need to have a happy medium. So we can have people, look, everybody, we're all in business. You know, you're on YouTube. If you're making YouTube content, you're a creator. You want ad revenue. You want sponsorships. I get all that. But there's got to be a way to do it that isn't so. I don't think clickbait leads to anywhere good, not over the long term, because eventually you're going to lose your viewership. People are going to be like, you guys are full of shit. Yeah. You know, it's not going to last. It's not sustainable. And Tell me the truth, man.
And the thing where it trickles down to is, for me, like, I spend a lot of my time, more than just watching regular TV, I'm on YouTube. I play music through YouTube, and sometimes when I open it up, I'll see other people I watch posting the same headlines, same sort of headlines, and I'll come in sometimes, and I'll be like, John, did you hear about this and that? And then you'll have to explain to me, no, that's not what the article said. That's what people are running with, but that's not. So like that's what's frustrating with me. Like I'm in the car and then I'll come in thinking this news, we're about to report this story, and I'll be like, hey John, why aren't we doing this story? Without even going to bother and looking it up myself.
Because the headline isn't
because I see
accurate.
so many of the headlines on my YouTube feed, and he's like, that's not what the article said. This is I'll be like, oh, okay, I get it.
This is another one that I remember. This is from a while ago though. The headline read, Disney princesses are supposed to look perfect, but one fan has spotted a mind-blowing mistake.
Whoa.
They don't have fingernails. there was this stop clickbait account that would like literally go in and like do this.
That would blow my mind.
That's the whole answer to the entire thing. They don't have fingernails. But again, I recognize that, and once again, I am not trying to crap on anybody. This is a tough thing. It's a thing you struggle to balance, and sometimes you probably maybe even do one and you don't even realize you're titling it that way. I have been guilty of that myself. So it's a tough thing, but it's something I hope all of us in the movie community, specifically in the movie community of content creators, that we try to be vigilant against not doing that, because you're right. It's frustrating whenever I get pulled into one of those and I realize, like the Dwayne Johnson thing. Oh, it was just, I feel like you just wasted my time.
Yeah. You betrayed me.
Yeah. You betrayed me.
You lied.
The calzones betrayed me. Guys, question is for you. Do you have some great examples of this? I wouldn't mind you sharing them down below, even if they're one of mine. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's talk about this. One of the things that people have been extremely excited about coming out of DC, and there's a number of things coming, but people have been excited about this Lantern series. The fact that you're going to have Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart in it. We already got Guy Gardner in there. So I don't know if he's going to make an appearance in the show, but we've got the Lantern series coming. They did the casting, so that's great, but it's still kind of just been theoretical. And now the tangibilization has happened because James Gunn has posted online, excited that Lanterns is now in production. This thing's shooting. DC Studios' new show for HBO and Max from creators Chris Mundy, Damon Lindelof, and Tom King, starring Kyle Chandler and Aaron Pierre, is something really special. And there's a bit of a, I love this image. Yeah. I don't know why. Somebody in our live chat before the show started said, it looks like a mix between, what was it? Supernatural and Oh, they said it was a mix. This shot makes it look like it's a mix between Supernatural and something else. I can't remember what it was now. But at any rate, I love Kyle Chandler's look.
He's got a ring on his finger there.
Oh, he's got the
You can see the ring.
he's got the green ring. I'm sure Aaron does too. You just can't see because the way his hand is. But I remember when the first word came out that they were initially trying to get Josh Brolin to play Hal Jordan. And I loved it. The idea of a more seasoned vet Hal Jordan, who's been around longer, which he has been, and with a younger, new recruit to the Green Lantern Corps, or newer at any rate. Maybe they're both vets at this point, but Hal Jordan obviously been around longer.
Was it True Detective, the other one they compared it to?
No, but that's a good one too.
Yeah.
That's another really good one. So this picture to me is great. They're not giving away anything yet. Like, what are they going to look like in their outfits and all that kind of stuff. But I got to tell you, I love this photo. It looks great.
John Stewart, man.
They got such a great guy to play him.
Yeah, man. He looks really good, actually.
And just knowing that this show is actually now shooting, because we've been waiting for this a long time. I love what I'm seeing. Anyway, Rob, what's your reaction to this?
Well, you know, when I was a kid, and also when there was a Green Lantern, Green Arrow comic where they teamed up and kind of went across America, and there's a famous cover where they find out that Speedy was taking heroin. Believe it or not. I mean, these are DC. My ward Speedy is a junkie. That was the famous
I remember
cover.
that.
And the thing is, I love this idea. First of all, I love Kyle Chandler. Friday Night
Kyle
Lights
Chandler
is
is one of the most underrated, underappreciated gems in the entire industry.
The guy's amazing, and I loved him as Coach Taylor. I mean, Friday Night Lights is the Star Trek of East Texas football TV shows. Just saying.
Is there a lot of East Texas football shows?
Well, you know, it's like
catalog of those,
it's like
are
the
there?
West Wing is Star Trek in Washington D.C.
Yeah.
But so there it is. There's the cover. That was quick.
That's what they pay me for.
That was Johnny on the spot right there.
My ward is a junkie.
It's such a great.
My God.
I mean,
Cover like that?
People forget DC attacks youth's greatest problem, drugs. but that's what those comics, by the way, were great. The artwork was great. They were great. But this show has, I mean, just that picture gave me that feel. It's exactly what I want. And I'll tell you something. The fact that Hal Jordan is Kyle Chandler and is older and seasoned, and Aaron Pierre coming off of Rebel Ridge, where he just kicked ass, Jeremy Saulnier's movie on Netflix. I love this thing. I can't wait to see this. Now, what's interesting, they're walking on, it looks like that's going up to Mulholland from the 101 right there. But
Kind of does.
I mean, I don't know. Are they going to be cosmic? Are they going to go and are we going to see Oa? Are we going to see are we going to see anybody? I don't know.
Are they walking to the Fox ruins? It looks like they're in the same.
I don't know.
Wolverine.
To me, it kinda looks like
but
going
all I know is if this is the direction they're going in, I mean, they're not showing us some weird fantasy,
Right.
We're not seeing Nort or
grounded.
anything like that. I'm in, man. Count me in. And James Gunn's saying it's something really special. I think they're going to go in a more adult skewed way. I mean, I've always said, why not do like Lethal Weapon? Lethal Weapon with space. Are these the great space detectives?
You know what?
I mean, who knows?
That's what the one viewer said. Said it looks like a cross between Supernatural and Lethal Weapon.
Yeah,
That's what it was.
There you go.
Right?
I mean, that's what the science fiction version of it. You know.
You think Kyle Chandler's gonna have a line? I'm getting too old for this.
Yes, I hope so. I hope he does.
Let's not forget, this is like backed by HBO and Max.
Yeah.
This is gonna be
Yeah,
on
I mean,
Max. This is real serious when you start getting into that.
Yeah.
sort
And
of.
Tom King's involved. I mean, Damon Lindelof hit and miss for me, but I'm looking forward to this, man. I really am. And I love Jeff Johns' run on Green Lantern. You know, I read all of that. I hope Sinestro. I mean, it's gonna be great.
Listen,
Can't
if
wait.
they can bring like even half of the drama to this that they did with Penguin, the first season of Penguin, if they can even, again, as Ray's pointing out, don't forget this is HBO,
Right.
right? And like working with James Gunn on this, I'm getting real excited about this.
Can't come soon enough. Come on.
It's so weird. It's so weird. If you'd asked me a couple of years ago, I am far more enthusiastic and excited about DC television than I am about Marvel
Oh
television.
yeah, me too.
Again, Marvel television has knocked a couple out of the park. They have. But I mean, between Peacemaker and Penguin, and now we got this Lantern series coming, I kind of feeling pretty good about their TV.
Let's not forget Swamp Thing. Even though they canceled it, I really like that
But that
show.
wasn't HBO.
I know, but that was a DC property.
It was a DC thing, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, the thing is that they're skewing DC going more toward the realistic route, which is weird because I think Superman's going to go the more fantastical route.
Yeah, it looks like that.
But it's going to be really interesting to see how they reconcile all this. I'm excited. I mean, I find myself far more excited right now for everything that DC's doing, both now on Max, because of the Penguin and because of the Batman and because of James Gunn's upcoming Superman movie, than I am with Marvel. Marvel has to earn my trust again. And I love them so much for so long. But this show, having this cast, these two guys, come on.
Yeah, this is, I think, speaking of Lethal Weapon, I think this is going to be the next generation's Riggs and Murtaugh.
Oh yeah.
I see these two being so good together. I'm so excited about that. And by the way, don't get me wrong that I'm crapping on anything. I'm so excited about Daredevil. That's coming up just days from now. Like next week, Daredevil starts. I'm so excited about that. I finally talked to a couple of people who actually saw the first 2 episodes. They absolutely loved it. So then again,
Yeah, I mean, just look at how they're promoting this show. This is not fantastical. It's two guys on a road.
yeah.
You know, I mean, where are they going? Where have they been? We'll find out.
And you know what? If Jonathan didn't point out, I didn't even realize he's got Kyle Chandler's got the ring on his
And you know,
finger.
I love the titles. I love the title because what do lanterns do? They bring us the light, which I think is great because, you know, that's what the Green Lantern
You think we're
character
going to
does.
hear like in Brightest Day and Darkest
Yes.
Night? You think they're going to have
because that's what the lantern does.
That's their
and I
pledge of
love that
allegiance.
that's the title of the show.
Do you think the whole show is about them getting their powers back?
No.
No.
Okay.
Now, see, the great thing that I
Thank
love with
God.
James Gunn, one of the great decisions I think James Gunn decided on was in the creation of this new cinematic universe, we are joining it already in progress.
Yeah.
Like we are already in a world with heroes. Now, here's my biggest question going in. Is Kyle Chandler going to be around the DC universe for a while? Or is there going to be like a passing of the torch and Hal Jordan dies at the end of this series? I want him around for a while. I want to see, because remember, it's not Green Lantern isn't just an individual character. It's a core.
Right.
It's the Green Lantern core. And I really hope it. Do you think Kyle Chandler makes it out of season 1?
I do, because I think if anything, he will relinquish the title. He'll get rid of the ring, if anything. I don't think they'll kill him. I mean, I don't know if it's that kind of a show. It might be, but I think it's too valuable of a cast, too valuable of a team up.
But Max can traumatize people with some of
Yeah,
their series.
Max isn't
That's
opposed
true. I mean,
to
they're not
killing off
beyond
their characters in brutal ways. Now, the question, too, is,
I mean, they killed half the cast of Sopranos.
are we, okay, they're not saying they're adapting this from anything specific, but are we going to see the fridge? That's the one thing that has traumatized most people when you think about Green Lanterns. Will we get the fridge? I don't know. Anyway, guys, question is for you. We got our first look at the new Green Lanterns, the new show. It's actually shooting and in production right now. I couldn't be more excited about it. Question is for you guys. How do you feel about it? Whatever your guys' thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, it's time for us to get to the most important part of our show, which is taking, of course, your live comments and questions. But before we do, we're going to take a quick moment here and thank another sponsor of today's episode, our friends at Kikoff. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Kikoff. Man, time flies, doesn't it? 1 minute, you're reminiscing about your last vacation, and the next, you're thinking about major life goals, like buying a car, getting that dream home. But if your credit isn't where it needs to be, those goals can feel out of reach. And that's where Kikoff comes in, the #1 credit building app in the App Store that makes it easy, affordable, and stress-free to build credit fast. And that's exactly why I love Kikoff. They give you a credit line for just building credit, not for spending. Your on-time payments get reported to the 3 major credit bureaus, helping helping you improve your credit mix and payment history, two of the biggest factors in credit growth. If your credit is under 600, you could see a jump of about 28 points in your first month. No credit check, no hidden fees, no interest, just smart credit building. Building credit can happen faster than you expect with Kikoff. Don't wait. Get your first month for just $1 at getkikoff.com/Campea. That's Kikoff without the C. Get 80% off at getkikoff.com/Campea. Must sign up via getkickoff.com/Campea to activate offer. Offer applies to new customers first month only, subject to approval. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions may apply. Point stat based on Equifax Vantage Score 3.0 changes for Kikoff users starting under 600 who made their first on-time payment between January of 2021 and March of 2024. Payment and credit activity outside Kikoff can have an impact on your credit. Individual results may vary. And thank you to our friends at Kikoff for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. Hey guys, just to let you know before we get to your questions, today's is going to be a shortened show. As you guys know, yesterday was my birthday, and my wife Anna's taking me to Vegas for the weekend, and we got to leave at noon, which is in like 20 minutes. So we may not get through all the questions that are coming in today, but don't worry. If there's a question you sent in and we didn't get around to it, we'll make sure we get all caught up on tomorrow's show. All right. With that down, guys, Jonathan, what we got up first?
Scott Brown says, my wife and I watch Substance. Every year we watch every Best Picture nom, and we hated it and found it annoying to watch. Why is it so long? So many scenes just go on and on. Don't understand how it got nominated at all. What was your thoughts on the movie?
I thought it was great. But that's the great thing about movie. Like, first of all, Substance. Jonathan, I think the first conversation we ever had about it after we saw it was, it's not a movie for everybody.
Nope.
And that doesn't mean you have to be a good enough film fan to. No, it just means no movie appeals to everybody. And certainly Substance is not going to appeal to everybody. I personally thought it was great. I don't think it has a chance, nor should it have a chance to win Best Picture or anything like that. But I thought it was wonderful. I really did. But it didn't hit you in the right way. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, not every movie is for everybody. Like, I think, well, Dune 2 is the best movie of the year. But out of the ones that actually have a real chance of winning this year, I think other than Dune 2, I think Conclave was the best film of the year. And I'm really hoping that it gets, but I don't think Conclave is for everybody either. I'm sure there are probably people who watch Conclave and went, man, I find it boring. Like, I can totally see that.
Yeah, for sure.
So nothing wrong with it, but I thought every scene was just to immerse you and to soak you in everything. Right. And I thought it was really well made. All right. What's next?
Anonymous says, hey, John, I sent in the question yesterday regarding the Oscar voters and Rafe Fiennes. I just wanted to clarify that I didn't mean to come across as if I was trying to delegitimize the Oscars. I love the Oscars and just wanted to hear your take.
Oh, no, and that's, I believe I specified when I was giving my answer. I say, I'm not saying you're saying this, but it's just that it was very, it just echoed for me like so many comments I hear from so many other people, like when issues like that come up. Mm-hmm. But no, I totally understand that you weren't trying to say that yourself. All right, what's next?
CJ says, John, I'm sick and tired, I tell you, of the slander of the musical planet in the Marvels. I am the exact opposite of you in that, to me, it was the only redeeming part of the movie in my eyes. Everything else, it just fell a bit flat.
And that's great. I mean, that's great that it worked for you. Listen, I will give it this. It was creative. It certainly wasn't expected. And I appreciate it, even when it's something that I end up not liking. I appreciate when filmmakers try to take a big swing. And I didn't like it. I did not like the musical planet at all. It doesn't mean I don't appreciate or respect the fact that they went up and took a big swing. And I thought they missed, but it worked for you. And that's great. That's the important thing, that it worked for you. But yeah, unfortunately, that part didn't work for me. All right, what's next?
Bright Guy says, the Hollywood Reporter confirmed the comedian and actress Ayo Edebiri is penning the script for and in talks to star in an upcoming A24 film that'll be produced by Daniel Kaluuya. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's
a lot of talent.
Not just a film, it's what film it is. Mm-hmm. It's the fucking purple dinosaur.
Barney. That we have been waiting. I think we were still at AMC when the news broke that Daniel Kaluuya was going to be producing and heading up a Barney the Dinosaur, which, remember what the big phrase was? It's gonna, what is it? It's gonna not circumvent your expectations. It's going to, what's the word that everybody use? It's going to not defy expectations. It's going to, subvert. That's it. Michael Burgett and Elijah. It's going to subvert expectations. Remember we all joked about that?
We're doing this Barney the dinosaur movie. It's going to subvert all the expectations. That news has been around for like 5 years or more. Maybe 6 or 7 years. I can't remember when that news first came out. But yes, now they've announced that they've attached Edibiri to be the writer of it as well and to appear in it, which is interesting. And we'll probably hear more news about it in another 5 years. All right, what's next?
We got Twilight Boy.
Twilight Boy.
I'm excited for Thunderbolts, but I worry it's too inside baseball for casuals. Walker is from a TV show. Taskmaster is an awful villain from an underperformer. Yelena and Red Guardian are also from said movie. And Ghost is from another forgettable film.
Yes, I agree on all fronts. But I also believe, and that's why I don't think Thunderbolts is going to be $1 billion film.
Right.
But I think it's going to be great. And I think Kevin Feige is going to find a way to make sure that nobody feels lost watching it. I think we're all going to have a very good understanding about who each character is by the time we're about 10 minutes into the movie. So think of it in terms of Guardians of the Galaxy, right? Nobody knew anything about any of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Nobody knew who Drax was or Peter Quill or Yondu or anybody, right? But they made sure in the first 15 minutes of film, we had a good, solid understanding of the characters, and then they move forward. I think he's going to approach it as with the assumption that nobody knows who these characters are. I bet when we watch this movie, and I don't know this for a fact, but I'd be willing to bet that when we watch this movie, it's going to hit us in such a way that if we did watch all the previous stuff, we'll appreciate it a little bit more. But I bet a new person watching it will be as if the movie will just make the assumption nobody knows who these characters are, and we've got to introduce them to you as if you're a first-time viewer. Mm-hmm. That's something that the Marvel Cinematic Universe did really well for 25-plus movies. I think they're going to do it again here. All right, what's next?
All right, we got Ric Flair's Martini here. If John, yeah, well, that's coming there. If John Campea doesn't enthusiastically endorse Cal Kestis in their movie or Disney Plus series, this limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling, dealing son of a gun is going to challenge him to a steel cage match.
Styling, profiling.
I gotta get a woo in here too.
Listen, I don't enthusiastically endorse it.
Enthusiast,
but don't misinterpret that from me as an individual saying, if they did do it, I'd be down. I'd totally be down. But from, if I was in the boardrooms of Disney, would I be saying this is one we should pursue? I don't know. I don't know that it'd be all that successful. Everybody always overestimates the size of their community. Everybody always just has way out of proportion beliefs of how big their community is. Like I'm a huge Supernatural fan, right? And so I'll float around in some Supernatural fan circles, some online discussions, and like a lot of my fellow Supernatural fans are like, they gotta do a movie, it would make hundreds of millions. I'm like, guys, I'm obsessed with Supernatural, but you are way overestimating its reach. It wouldn't do all that well as a movie. It might be a great movie. And I think people who are fans of those games, which I include myself as one of them, I think sometimes overestimate the reach of those games or how the average fans would initially go out to it. Again, for me though, I think the story's very good and I would like to see it. Unfortunately, again, it's going to just be doing what Rogue One does again, is that the boogeyman hiding in the background is always Darth Vader. You never know when Vader's going to show up. But man, when he does in the games and you just see her face and all you hear is, and you're like, oh shit, because you know who's behind her. But yeah, so as a fan, I would be really down to see it. But I don't know that from a business point of view, don't know that I'd enthusiastically endorse it. All right, what's next?
Okay, we got Fire or Replace David Zaslav says in a two-parter. John, they just closed down 3 more, I think they mean game studios, Multiversus and a Wonder Woman game. They canceled a Flash and Constantine game. They lost about $200 million from the live service slop that was the Suicide Squad game, which was worked on for 8 years. There's rumor that they want to make a DC version of the Marvel Rivals. I hope to Baby
Did
Jesus.
they already kind of have something like that a while ago? Anyway,
sure.
please continue.
Hope to Baby Jesus Superman. This never happens. We do not trust WB Games with any of IPs. I wouldn't trust them with my pet rock. In the words of Jesse, he can't keep getting away with this. I don't know that Zaslav has much of a control over.
Yeah, I remember too when they first announced that Wonder Woman game. Like that was met with some great thing. But yeah, that Suicide Squad game, I remember it was like, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but wasn't it like 4 CinemaCon or Comic Cons ago that they made that big announcement and showed the big trailer for it, and then it like
For Wonder Woman?
no
Yeah, the
for
game.
the Suicide Squad game.
Suicide,
Oh,
yeah.
right.
And then it was like years before it finally came out, and then everybody was excited about it. Then the moment it came out, it was like, what the hell is this? I mean, look, I don't really care. I really don't care. The games are the games. I'm more interested in the movies and the shows. But yeah, it is an unfortunate thing that we see happening there. All right, what's next?
Okay, we got Naveed with a 4-parter. Hi, John. I think in Avengers 5, Doctor Doom is not a villain and will be looking for a way to stop the incursion and is also aware of the TVA. Maybe on his way, he will be looking for Loki to absorb his power to try to save the multiverse from the incursion. After the incursion happens, he'll try to create the
Wow, this is one of those really specific theories.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
keep going.
the battle world with his desired history. I think Doom will also face Strange and maybe Wanda, but they'll help Doom. But on the other hand, we will see worlds approaching and colliding with each other, and each world is trying to destroy the world opposite it. And for this reason, all the heroes of each world will fight to defend their own world.
Well, that's directly from the comics. Yeah.
For example, we may see a fight between Toby and Hugh, but characters like Reed Richards will also try to be building a ship to survive the
raft.
Yeah,
they
after
call
the
it, yeah.
collision with the worlds, with a group of people they were able to gather.
Well, I mean, a lot of what you just said, or at least symbolically, a lot of what you just said is actually in the original story. I don't know that Doom will be introduced in any sort of a way as a good guy, where things just go wrong. They kind of did that a little bit already in the animations with Doctor Strange. Like, oh no, the dark Doctor Strange. So I don't know. I think we may be seeing a more traditional villain out of it, a layered, complex villain for sure. But I think he's going to come out of the out just like that. Now, Doctor Strange, if you know the comic story, clearly has an important role to play in there. If you know the comic story, you know Reed Richards has a very important role. Although whether they go ahead and do the what's the name of his character again? The Reed Richards, not the leader, the
Oh boy,
not the designer, not the architect. What's his name? Guys, like what's Reed Richards, the evil version of Reed? Why am I freezing on it? We were just talking about the Maker. The Maker is it. First one, Millie was the first one to put that into the live chat. Thank you, Millie. Whether that, but we don't, just because that's in the comic, that doesn't mean Kevin Feige's going to have the Maker or any kind of a version of that here. We don't know. I mean, obviously, we're not going to have Miles Morales. We're not going to have, whether they still have Peter Parker having the leftover hamburger in his pocket or not, I don't know. But there are definitely going to be some things that they're going to carry over. Which ones? Don't know yet. All right, what's next?
Okay, we got MCU says Sam could totally lead the Avengers. He understands military tactics and can call the shots in battle. He also is an airborne captain and has a literal bird's eye view of the field. But if anything, he should lead the Earth-based Avengers.
Again, everything you just said, there are 2 or 3 other Avengers people who are better than him at that. He's not the on-field battle commander. He was clearly, even in like Endgame, he was taking orders from Rhodey. Like even like with that one scene when Rhodey and Falcon are taking in, Rhodey's the one giving the instructions out and giving the pace orders, right? Like if you want to talk, well, he's a military guy. Yeah, well, Rhodey outranks him.
Outranks him by a lot.
Rhodey has been in the Avengers longer. Rhodey is, I mean, his armor is more powerful. He outranks him in every way. So yeah, no, you'll never convince me of that. I love the character. I love the Sam character. I love Falcon. But let him just be Falcon. I mean, he still is. Everything about him in the new movies is still Falconish. He still has a Falcon Iron Man costume. I don't know, but that's just my kind of take on it. All right, what's next?
Duck says, Buenas tardes. You say that we are at the last of the Chapek era, but what about stuff like Ironheart and Wonder Man? Why aren't those part of that era? Wouldn't they also be stuff that was made before they started doing show Bibles and show runners?
You know, that's actually a very good point because like Ironheart, while it's not out and is going to be coming out long after Bob Chapek had departed, that was a show that was already in production when Bob Chapek was still there. So you're right about that.
I mean, scrap it.
Cinematically, though, we are now moved past. With the stuff, there probably are still some remnants going to come straggling along. I don't think Wonder Man went into production.
I don't think so either.
Until after Bob Chapek left.
And I can't imagine if they know they're doing something incorrectly that they're just going to move forward with Ironheart in a way that they feel like
it has been delayed a lot, though.
Yeah, so I feel like maybe they're retooling the production and how they're going about it.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that all kind of goes. But you are right about that. All right, what's next?
Tron
says,
"Hey, John and crew, just wanted to get y'all's thoughts on some movies and if you think they could ever be rebooted. The Phantom."
Let me stop you right there. I haven't looked at your list. The answer to all of them is yes. Yeah, whatever movie you throw on that list, the answer is yes. Yeah. Okay, please now proceed with your list.
Okay, The Phantom.
Yes.
Darkman.
Yes.
Just take the elephant. Some of my favorite childhood films.
Yeah, absolutely. You could reboot those. 100%. Actually, it's kind of funny you mentioned Darkman because we've got a movie I'm very excited about to come out in Novocaine. I'm very excited with Jack Quaid. I'm very excited about that movie. But he's kind of a dark man, right? Like Darkman, ultimately after his accident, he can't feel pain. That's kind of what Novocaine is. But yes, I absolutely believe you can reboot both of those. All right, what's next?
All right, we got Tax says, I love Joker 2, like Rob, ambitious, weird, and risky. I loved how it continued the focus of the failures of the system on Arthur and how he never got the support he really needed. Beautiful cinematography, music, and acting. Top 10 comic for me, or movie for me.
Okay, bring up that question again. I want to go over some statements you made there. You loved it. Okay. It was ambitious. It was ambitious. I agree. The movie was ambitious. It was weird. I agree. The movie was weird. It was risky. I agree. It was risky, but it was a bag of crap. It was terrible. I still respect what the filmmaker was trying to do. I respect that he was being ambitious and taking big swings. Remember, I was just talking about that recently, taking big swings, but all the swings were a big swing and a miss. I mean, I never once, the way I did in the first Joker, found myself empathizing with the characters and getting emotionally attached to the plight and being shocked by the outcome. Like everything else, everything about it just came out so drab and awful. It doesn't take away that it was ambitious and it was weird and it was risky, but none of those things make your movie good. You still got to do something great with it and connect. And for me, I'm glad it connected for you. I'm glad it connected for Rob. There are other people watching this right now that I'm sure enjoyed Joker 2, and that's great. But for me and a lot of other people like me, that despite all those things being true, it still was a big swing and a miss. But again, that's the beautiful thing about film. It can all hit us all in different ways. All right, what's next?
Jeff Nicholas says, my go-to Gene Hackman performances would be Enemy of the State, Hoosiers, Little Bill, and Unforgiven, Lex Luthor, but Royal Tenenbaums. Yeah,
so
one that I rewatched the most and will always associate with Gene Hackman.
Like for me, it's probably always going to be Little Bill, just because again, I think that's the greatest Western of all time. Is Unforgiven, and one of the reasons it's one of the greatest or the greatest Western of all time is because of Gene Hackman, and he's just so good in it. Royal Tenenbaums.
You know, I completely forgot. And I was cracking up during the show, but it had popped up when I was looking up stuff. His small role as the blind man in Young Frankenstein. Oh. And he catches his thumb on fire.
You know, we did mention, but we were talking before I think the show started. If there was a list, we've never talked about, if there was a list of absolutely amongst the greatest movies ever made that a lot of people today have probably never seen, Mississippi Burning.
Oh, yeah.
Mississippi Burning. It's not just an amazing movie. How good is Dafoe in that?
Oh, yeah. Willem Dafoe, Michael Rooker.
It's an important movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think it should be required viewing in schools anyway. But if you have not watched the Gene Hackman masterpiece, Mississippi Burning, watch that movie, man. It's so freaking good. All right, what's next?
Let's see. Zero Day. Hey, John, do you think a movie like Cat 4 would have done significantly better second weekend without a 17-day window in place? Being that people believe, oh, I'll just watch it on Disney Plus instead of going to the theater with all the mixed reviews.
Well, Disney and Marvel don't do the 17-day window thing, which is pretty good. I think it would have done better on its second weekend if it was a good movie. I mean, ultimately that's the problem with Captain America 4.
It didn't get good word of mouth.
It didn't get the right reviews. The word of mouth was not good, all that kind of stuff. So it would have done better second weekend if it had been a better movie. But unfortunately, it just wasn't a very good movie.
Yeah.
All right, last question of the day.
All right. Zero Day says, hey, John and crew. So we saw some old Fox characters appear already, Beast Logan, etc. Do you guys have one Fox character you would like to see in Secret Wars that just makes sense to appear?
Nope.
No, I almost feel like just no. Like,
now,
let's be done with it.
when you say Fox characters, you mean
The X-Men.
X-Men characters as portrayed in the Fox movies by the actors who portrayed them? Then the answer is no.
James Marsden, baby.
I mean, listen, I've always loved James Marsden. Always.
Just put him in.
It's really unfortunate that was the one really misused character in the original X-Men films. But Marsden is great. I'm watching him in Paradise right now. I think he should get a Best Supporting Actor nomination, to be honest with you. But at any rate, I'd be totally down for it. Little old to be a Cyclops Scott Summers right now, so probably not. But honestly, no. I mean, they already did the Patrick Stewart as Professor X.
Yeah, like Bishop's
in Doctor
cool,
Strange.
but
We already did that. We already covered that.
Colossus was okay.
we've seen him even in
But
Deadpool.
Colossus, they've already changed. Yeah, they changed him over. I like that. I don't think we're gonna bring that Colossus over, but I would be totally down for it. I'd be down for the Deadpool Colossus.
Yeah. Or another shot at Juggernaut. The real Juggernaut.
But it wouldn't be that Juggernaut.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Right? So it wouldn't be Fox's Juggernaut. So, yeah. All right, guys. Now, I know there are other questions waiting, but again, we have to cut today's shows a little bit short. So we'll make sure we get all caught up on all the questions on tomorrow's show. Don't you worry about it. But for now, thank you so much for joining us for today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. I want to thank the guys in the room with me, Ray Ora,
Hey, see you guys tomorrow.
Jonathan Voico,
See you guys later.
the departed Robert Meyer Burnett. My name, of course, is John Campea. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.